following program is sponsored by PokerStars.com. Last season, the big game provided many memorable moments.
How else can I even play in this game? It's like I just get cheated.
And some regrettable ones as well.
Come to my game and you're wasting my time.
On your bikes! Amanda, bring a tricycle.
David Fishman had the loose cannon title firmly in his sights until Bobby the Bus caught lightning in a bottle.
Come on, baby, one time, hold up.
And stole the crown with 7 hands to go.
This is so cool.
Find out who will claim this season's top prize as the chase begins now.
For me,
it started small.
From
pool halls in Toronto to poke rooms in Las Vegas.
It's given me a life.
I never could have dreamed.
The game has taken me around the world. I've seen it all.
From the Windy City to Sin City.
This game can make you a legend.
This game can make you a champion.
It may have started small.
It may have started,
But now, it's the big game.
This is the next generation.
It doesn't get
any bigger than this.
This is the PokerStars.com Big Game.
Welcome to Las Vegas as we're about to kick off another season of the Big Game. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Scott Huff, where tonight one internet qualifier will challenge the pros and fight for more than $750,000 in our state-of-the-art poker room.
One of those pros is cash game specialist David Peat, known as Viffer. What would Dave do? Buy in for $100,000.
Tony G's rocking a boyish new do for this season of the Big Game, but brings a man-sized stack to the table, $250,000.
It probably took Scott Seiver a couple of hours to make his $100K buy-in, but it did take him our entire hiatus to grow that beard.
Daniel Negreanu, Kid Poker, is here. The devout vegan has a rather meaty bankroll in front of him. He's starting with $200,000.
And starting at guard with 11 years in the NBA, from Florida State University, 6'5", number 5, Bobby Sura.
Believe it or not, the loose cannon's name tonight is Gonzales Cannon. The 32-year-old from Sacramento hopes to cash in this week in order to help out his family, who has fallen on hard times recently. Mr. Cannon is being staked $100,000, and right now, he's with Amanda Leatherman.
Your name is Gonzales Cannon. You are this week's loose cannon. This has to be meant to be, right?
It's definitely meant to be. This is fate. I mean, when I first seen the show, my body was tingling on the couch. I'm like, do you want a cannon? And I'm the loose cannon. Hey, it was meant to be.
You just knew it, right?
I just knew it. It was without a doubt, without a doubt.
That's a tough lineup out there. How you feeling?
The cards are the cards, the chips are the chips. I'm not worried about who's behind them. I'm playing the game. I have been watching people. I have some tells on some of the players, so they got to watch out because they've never seen me play. I've watched them, so I got the advantage here.
If you end up winning a lot of money this week, how would that change your life?
Oh, it would change my life drastically. I mean, I'm here. I'm playing for my family. I'm playing for myself. But it would change our lives drastically. I mean, our family, we had some, tough situations last year, lost our home and this, that, and the other. So I'm here to do big things, and I believe I'm going to do it.
All right, Gonzo, I'm pulling for you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Each cannon is staked $100,000. He keeps all profit above the initial $100,000, and at season's end, the loose cannon who's won the most money wins a North American Poker Tour passport worth $50,000.
There's a rumor your actual name is Cannon.
That is my name.
That's his name, and we unfortunately are most certainly going to wear it out.
Cannon named Cannon? Gonzales Cannon.
That should be a rule for all
That is my
future
name.
cannons.
Wow, 2.5 seconds, and it's already old. Lose the Abbott and Costello cannon bit.
Action's on Sura. He folds.
Don't be surprised about the action. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
Daniel's out.
Really?
What?
Folding already?
Ace Jack of Spades.
That's pretty bad.
You only want to play double-suited cards.
Only double suited.
Scott Seiver, a sucker for Omaha jokes.
I'm forced to raise. You are.
It's forced.
Tony G not folding, raises to 1,600. Viffer's out.
Tony's attacking the cannon's big blind.
Deeper, he goes unmatched right now.
Cannon the cannon gets robbed.
You're qualified.
And it's nothing but a G thing for the first pot of the season.
At least I didn't have to re-raise the first hand.
So that's the fastest I've ever been stuck 400.
Well, get used to it.
Oh, no, I'm not getting used to that. Not at all.
Get used to hearing your name a lot this week, Cannon.
So here are the rules of the big game. Each table lasts exactly 150 hands. Action pre-flop is pot limit and then no limit after the flop. Blinds are 2 and 4 with a $100 ante, all of which is paid by the player on the button. Every player begins with at least 100,000 but can rebuy for up to 500K.
One difference from last season is that the loose cannon no longer has the option to come back for a second session to increase their stack.
You both play basketball?
I played in high school, you know, co-captain.
Let's play 2 and 4 for like 50 million.
Well, you told me about your Lithuanian background in basketball. I don't know, you might be trying to get me.
Are you good?
I'm all right. I mean, 2 and 4 will be okay.
Can we have her?
Can we play Lithuanian rules, though?
We'll take Amanda to even it up a little bit.
Without heels on, Amanda is less than 4 feet tall.
Action starts on Scott Seiver. The Doyle, he folds it. Suited cards for Tony G, raises.
Is that you on that shirt?
This is me.
What the heck?
What else would it be?
WWDD?
You know what it's from?
What would
Dippy do.
What would Dippy do?
Dippy Dave.
Dippy Dave, that's what they call me.
Scott, how far down a list of adjectives would you have to get before you called Viffer Dippy?
I'm not afraid of his leather duster. 2 ladies for the NBA player. Shocker.
Raise it.
He's going to re-raise to 5,000.
White men can't jump, but they can re-raise.
Daniel's out. Action back over to Tony G.
Now, that might seem like a big re-raise, but Sura's out of position, and Tony's just live enough to call with a hand like this. If Tony's ever going to fold a hand like this, though, it will be now when he's even.
And he makes the call.
So I guess Tony's never folding this hand.
To the first flop of the season. 10-8-4, 2 diamonds. Tony makes a pair, but Sura's still best.
Bobby should be able to squeeze at least 1 bet out of him.
Sura bets out 8,000.
Now, right now, Tony's got hands like ace-king and ace-queen in jail. Even against an overpair, he's got decent implied odds if he makes trips or a backdoor flush.
To qualify there?
What does qualify mean?
You got a piece of the board? Did you connect?
You play in Tony's game, you better be qualified.
I qualified, so folding is out of the question. It's just a matter of what I do now.
Well, he's narrowed it down to call or raise. I suggest he polls the audience.
A lot of confidence just betting out.
Sorry about that one, but like, no harm intended.
Rookie mistake.
Sorry?
Rookie mistake betting out.
That's what happens.
Clock.
Sick of these nits coming in here and freaking taking up all my time.
Can we get 15 minutes already? Come on. We could send him broke.
Go.
I don't think you could send him broke.
Well, but there's a lot of definitions of broke, though, right?
Right, we were just talking about
I got a question. Could he play one-on-one basketball for it?
He just wanted to accept the basketball challenge earlier, so I don't know.
Poker is one-on-one. Basketball is heads up.
All right, I fold. Fold. You seem to be too relaxed.
I thought folding was out of the question.
1 card?
Show 1 card.
Show 1 card.
I thought folding was out of the question.
Apparently not. Sura drags a pot worth 19K.
I had a 4.
Like I said before, if Tony were up or down huge, I don't think he'd be folding in that spot. Now, if you don't think ace-4 is worth calling on a flop like that a decent amount of the time, you probably shouldn't be calling with it pre-flop.
I'm going to straddle. Just put me on tilt.
Yes!
Wow, Tony G tilting and straddling. I think everyone's about as excited as you are, Joe.
Do you have a hand? Do you have a pair? Honestly.
Big pair.
Conversation about the hand or his shoe size.
Action's on Viffer, 4-9 off.
Nobody even knows.
No dice. Action over to Gonzales Cannon, ace-4.
The ace is pump fake.
I'll let it
Folds. Speaking of pump fakes, action's on Sura.
You flop top set?
The former NBAer folds.
I believe him.
Daniel's out.
top set. That's always a good one.
When you said folding wasn't an option, I got kind of excited.
I mean, I really want to raise, but I guess I can just limp because you're going to raise for me.
Seiver calls.
Nah, check. It's such a bad hand.
No.
I can't fold.
What new Tony is this? I had all these plans coming in. You've already ruined them in 2 straight hands.
8 Jack King, 2 pair for Tony G.
I check.
Seiver checks bottom pair. Tony bets.
Didn't you say you had such a bad hand? Aren't those good cards?
Yeah, but if you check, that means I'm going to take it.
Strong, isn't it?
Okay, okay.
Now I know you must have a hand. You probably got a set here.
The turn, 6 of diamonds, giving Seiver bottom 2 pair.
I check.
Almost guaranteed Seiver will call him more than 1 time now.
Tony G bets 5,000.
Come on. How are we friendly here?
What can you have? You got queen 10 or something? Or 10-9? I got to make sure. I got to protect my hand.
Pot-sized bet, but Scott can't fold.
And I've got 8-8.
A date with an 8.
Date with an 8.
And Scott calls.
And he's in bad shape.
River cards, the 3 of hearts.
That's not going to help Seiver get away from this.
I check.
15,000.
Scott checks, and Tony bets 15,000.
Tony's bet the pot again. I don't think Scott can or in general should fold in this spot, but it's particularly dicey because both these hands are under-repped.
8-8 wins, by the way.
Do you promise?
I can't promise, but I can nearly guarantee it wins.
He calls.
Any 2 pair. If you can beat 2 pair, you win.
I thought you said any. I thought you said any 2 pair.
Ah, come on, I wasn't slow.
No, I know.
I said if you can beat any 2 pair, that's what I wanted to say.
Oh, okay.
That's the fastest 20,000 he's ever lost, by the way.
Not even close.
Probably not.
You qualified. You played it like me, like I do. You qualify with a little pair, then you upgrade your hand, and then
You got an upgrade, a free upgrade.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. Welcome back to Las Vegas, where Gonzales Cannon has been settling into the big game. And yes, his last name really is Cannon. While his dream job is to become a motivational speaker, Gonza will tell you he's got plenty of motivation to be here.
When they said they were looking for a loose cannon, are you kidding me? My name is Cannon. That's me. That's who I am. I knew I was going to be on this show, and that's the type of faith and the belief I have. My name is Cannon. They're looking for a loose cannon, and guess what? You better be careful what you ask for, because you got it. I come from very humble beginnings. What happened with our situation, which many Americans can identify with this, is that it just so happened that when the stock market crashed, it affected my family tremendously. The house I grew up in, we lost that home. You know, I was home for Thanksgiving last year, not realizing that that would be the last time that I would set foot in the home I grew up in. Thank goodness my grandparents have a home to bring us in, because that's where we're at now. I want to help put my parents back on their feet, and so I'm here to help lessen that blow. I want them, my family, my mother, you know, my father, to have their golden years be truly golden. If I'm able to do that via this venue, man, it'll be a good thing, a very good thing.
It's hard to make a joke about a guy who has such noble intentions, but did you see that kid and play haircut?
All right, back to our house party.
Have you known anybody to hit 5 half-court shots in a row consecutively, ever?
We used to bet on those after practice every day. I've never seen 5 in a row.
Did it in high school.
You did it? You did it?
High school.
Well,
5 half-court
then
shots
we
in a
could
row.
beat these guys for sure.
Man, listen. Yo, I'm guarding the paint.
You probably couldn't do it again.
I mean, hey, that was one. Hey, it was, you know, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
I got the paint.
You got the paint covered?
I got the paint covered.
David Peat, a.k.a. Viffer, a.k.a. Dippy Dave, now a.k.a. Sherwin Williams.
And the Cannon's going to straddle.
Let me straddle, or do I have to make it 8?
You should have realized I was going to be frustrated.
Tension.
Wow. Yeah.
My man. The cannon come out 5.
I mean, let's go ahead and get it in, fellas. I mean, let's play this game, Daniel.
I like this guy.
Oh my gosh.
So action will start on Bobby instead. Deuce 8, he folds. Negreanu out.
What's your issue?
Unreal. These kids come in here and they think they can just fold every
know,
hand.
right?
Like,
It's sick.
get the hell out of here.
Let's come here to just.
I mean, I'm tired with playing of all these. 8.
Guys whose sentences just trail off.
Viffer raises to 2,400.
You gotta look.
Who, me?
He says I qualified. I put the 800 out.
The Cannon defending his straddle.
Can't let you punk me all day.
5 ace 8.
Ain't no punk in the junk.
I googled that bet. Turns out, not a saying. He bets 4,000.
The Cannon has made a pair. Let's see if he can take the heat from Peat.
Oh, he does qualify.
He qualifies and he calls.
Pre-flop, the call was questionable, but once you make a pair, you got to keep going.
Ace of diamonds on the turn.
Viffer's gritting his teeth at the thought of having to bet this again.
And he checks.
This is a close one for Gonzo. I'd probably check since there's not a ton of value in a bet, but if he does bet, it would protect his hand a bit.
And the Cannon's going to bet it 9,000.
This actually merges his range a little bit, since typically on a board like this, your hand tends to be polarized. But Viffer's got no pair and no draw.
And he folds, and the Cannon's going to pick up his first pot of the night.
Show him the 6 of clubs.
I would if I had it.
Eat some of that.
I would if I had it.
Probably aces.
I like the other cannons better, yo. Nice hand.
Thank you.
You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome.
All right, Joe. We're just 6 hands into season number 2, and the loose cannon is already looking quite comfortable sitting with the pros.
Well, Scotty's got to be a lot more comfortable than you should be, replacing a legend like Chris Rose. As for Gonzo, his name's Gonzales. I'm liking this guy so far. He's already straddled within the first 5 hands without being prompted. Then he defended it with 8-4 off. Looks like we might finally have a cannon who's comfortable dusting off someone else's money, and that's all right by me.
Wait, are you saying cannon his name, or are you saying cannon as in loose cannon?
You know, Chris Rose wouldn't even have had to ask that question.
It's going to be a long season.
Welcome to the big game.
I think that's history right there. A cannon on his own, day one,
just
straddling it up.
And not even
never seen before on television. And just owns Viffer.
Yeah.
Made Viffer look stupid that part.
No, I didn't look
Well, that's not that hard.
No, I could look stupid just by myself. I don't need no help.
Viffer got the whole sentence out that time, but there was a double negative in there.
Action starts on Negreanu. Pocket pair of 3s.
Daniel's been pretty quiet so far with the 3 most aggressive players to his left.
Good enough to raise to 1,200. Action folds around to Viffer. He kicks it in. Back on the cannon.
Cannon is out of position.
With king, queen of spades. He's going to call. Sura folds and will be 2 to the flop.
Heads up in the hand with Negreanu. This is...
Do it.
Every home game player's dream. 10-4-6 rainbow. Negreanu's pair still best. The cannon checks.
Probably not too scary a board for Daniel.
He bets 2,500.
It's a 3/4 pot bet, which is a pretty big bet for Daniel, actually.
And the cannon's going to call.
This is a pretty loosey-goosey float from Cannon the Cannon.
8 of clubs on the turn. Cannon thinking, now reaching for chips.
Looks like he's going to come out firing. This is going to look pretty weird to Daniel.
Interesting.
The cannon bets 7,000.
This move can sometimes be easily read as a bluff, but even if it is, the cannon could be bluffing with a better hand than Daniel's.
Daniel folds and the cannon gets away with a bluff.
Just pounding us.
Pounding.
Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
No longer fun. It's no longer fun when the bunny's got the gun.
Who you calling a rabbit? Who you calling a rabbit?
The loose cannon shows he's got a little hop to his game. See if he can keep it up after this.
Because of my superb bankroll that I've been able to build over the last 10 years, I think that's very important, and I think that's why I'm very dangerous. Let them come after me, you know, I'm not afraid. I'm there, I'm committed, I've got the heart and commitment to the game, and I think the most they love me is because I'm qualified.
I wonder if Tony G knows the difference between the words qualified and certifiable.
Or straight and straight jacket. You can find even more behind-the-scenes moments on the website as we continue with hand number 13. Action's going to start on Bobby Sura. Ace-3 suited. He folds.
Fold is tighter than the rims at Madison Square Garden.
Another small pocket pair for Daniel. Couple of 4s. He raises to 1,200. Seiver, 10-7 suited.
Daniel's favorite hand, unsuited.
Now Scott's favorite hand. He re-raises to 4,000.
Scott Seiver waited a whole dozen hands before messing with Daniel.
Tony G folding his button. Action on Viffer, Queen 10 of hearts.
It's a decent hand, but it's tough to play out of position to a raise and a re-raise.
He agrees and kicks it in, as does the cannon. Now it's decision time for Daniel.
Daniel checking out his implied odds.
Can't see if he has any big chips. Any 25s? No.
Scott's only bought in for 100, so that's all he's got. Disguising his hand by having a complete lack of posture.
And Daniel makes the call.
Oh, there it is. There's the move.
2 of the best to the flop. 8, king, queen, 2 spades, and Seiver's picked up a flush draw.
Pretty ugly flop for Daniel's hand.
And he checks it.
Scott's got a couple of backdoor straight draws to go with his flush draw. It would be a perfect time to keep the pressure on.
Seiver disagrees. He checks. Turn makes Seiver's flush.
By checking, Scott has disguised his hand very well. For Daniel, it's another overcard, and he's got no spade.
Negreanu checks.
Scott probably should bet now to protect his hand and get a little value while he can.
Seiver bets 7,300. Good enough. And Seiver wins a pot worth 16,500.
It's the Scott Seiver show.
Yeah, down the most Seiver show.
I'd rather watch the Mike Seiver show. Who doesn't love growing pains?
Despite the win, he's still in an early hole, down more than 12,000.
This 26-year-old is originally from Cold Spring Harbor, New York, and has cashed 12 times at the World Series of Poker, a bracelet in '08. All told, he's amassed more than $2.28 million in live tourney winnings. And for fun, sometimes he likes to put the emphasis on the wrong syllable, like saying king-queen instead of king-queen.
So, Mr. Negreanu, can you tell us any good stories of your recent adventures?
What?
I mean, you've been traveling in the world.
Don't even. All I've been feeling lately is just playing online. I don't even.
Well, we could tell by the way.
Playing a lot online?
Yeah.
Can you like let us know when so we can?
Yeah.
When you're playing.
I always tweet
Do
it.
you have updates?
Yeah, I tweeted. You never just jump in, Scott.
Man, I have to follow this Twitter
Oh, you'd
account.
have me on, yeah.
I have to follow this Twitter account. I didn't know there was a Twitter account.
Daniel's had recent matches with great players and fared pretty well for the most part.
What's the biggest pot you've ever won, everybody? It's in one hand.
Seiver, king 10, raises to 1,500.
Maybe like 600 or 700, something like that.
1,000.
Yeah. No, not dollars. 600 million.
600 Monday. Hey, I don't know. Y'all play some big games, man. You know. How much?
15.
Action on the cannon, king jack off.
1 yellow and 1 white.
My guess is the biggest pot.
1 yellow, 1 white.
1 yellow, 1 white.
I can do that.
Much better.
Cannon calls, and Sura folds.
Forget about this. Ask him the biggest pot he's ever lost. All right, you'll get a quick answer on that one.
That's $80.
Everybody remembers the biggest one they lost.
Yeah.
Flop is ace, king, deuce.
Cannon called out of position, but he's got Seiver dominated. Both have got middle pair.
He's checked it, and Seiver checks behind.
Seiver's checking for pot control.
Ace of clubs on the turn, pairs the board. Cannon still ahead.
2 yellows, 2 whites.
Makes it 3,000.
Scott was the last aggressor, but Gonzo now betting for value.
I mean, makes a good point. Seems fair.
And Seiver calls.
Yellows, 2 whites it is. I wonder how many silvers it's going to be this bet, though.
Silvers are 5K chips.
6 of hearts on the river, changes nothing.
Well, I'm expecting, my guess is 1 silver, 3 yellows.
That would be 8K and a pretty decent value bet. Even though the board is scary, Scott's taking a pretty passive line.
And Gonzo's counting out some yellows instead. 8,000.
It was 1 silver and 3 yellows. Just spited me and did it differently.
Didn't even realize it.
Cannon's metagaming Scott Seiver. Oh, I do not want to be in the business end of the Scott Seiver stare down. Well, Scott's likely considering folding or calling. A raise is pretty much out of the question, but he's likely to think if the cannon doesn't have an ace, he's good.
I'll let you add a Seiver wing to the house.
Scott calls.
Got a king.
Gonzo's got the better king.
I love
it. Just a king. Everyone's making you show your hand first.
It's pretty incredible. Yeah.
You didn't think it was good, I know.
Just a king. Just like a bad king.
Yeah, just the king. Like, oh, okay.
So the cannon collects, let's see, 5 silvers and a yellow, right, Joe?
Or 26 yellows.
This might be one of those tables where the loose cannon's the best player.
Plenty of time to find out. More big game on the way. Remember, all season long, you can view bonus hands, extra stats, and scandalous footage deemed too hot for TV on the website.
Scandalous footage? Is it SFW?
Yes, Joe, it is safe for work.
As long as you're okay with time stealing.
Action is on Scott Seiver. Queen 7 offsuit. He folds. Ace Jack of hearts for Tony G.
Nope. Lost the
He raises, of course, to 1,500. Viffer makes the call. Cannon on the button. Yeah. Folds. Sura's out. And Daniel's out. Viffer and Tony G will go heads up to the flop.
Viffer's made the call with Jack 7 dominated.
You're not kidding. He's really dominated now. 7 Jack Ace. Both players have made 2 pair. Tony G with top 2.
Tony G cold decks someone again with a bigger 2 pair. Wonder if you can call that an upper decker.
He bets 3,000 and Viffer quickly calls.
Viffer just calls knowing Tony will keep firing with worse.
King of spades on the turn.
Tony G still way out in front.
Bets 8,000.
If Viffer were thinking of raising the turn, he may be changing his mind now. Draws came in, more were created, and a bigger 2 pair is even more likely now.
Viffer calls. We're going to see a river card.
Love the belabored best hand side from Tony.
Deuce of diamonds on the river. And he bombs it. 30,000 from Tony G.
Classic Tony G river value over bet. More often than not, when Tony's bombed the river on the big game, he's had the winner. Still, I don't know if I could really blame Viffer for calling.
Want to trade a card?
This ain't a Yankee swap. That's how I ended up with my 3rd Snuggie.
After call, probably.
Oh, God. If I called you, just promise not to give me the speech and turn the hand over.
Can't promise anything.
And Viffer calls. He's not going to like the news.
Just ace jack.
Everyone's doing that. Just aces up.
How does he
ace king, you win, 3-7.
Just an ace.
There's a lot of ways I can lose the pot.
2 pair. What about like 2 pair?
Yeah.
7, ace 7. You qualified? At least like.
Yeah, this is a slow roll table so far.
You wanted me to give him a speech. He wanted it. He asked for it.
I'm pretty sure he has to hold the speech.
So with that hand, Viffer's going to need a motivational speech from the cannon as he finds himself in the basement, down more than 55,000 already. Tony G talked his way into a healthy profit, while the loose cannon is off to a nice start as well, up almost 23K.
Remember, Gonzales, the loose cannon keeps all profits above the 100 grand he was staked. However, this season, the loose cannon does not have an option to come back to try to increase his stack.
That's right, the cannon is 1 and done in Season 2. Action on Viffer. Folds.
Why don't I ever raise people out of the pot? I always want them to be part of the show.
Every single hand.
Cannon limps over to Daniel.
Not just an
Like that ace jack, I didn't just like,
Folds.
Believe me, if I had ace jack, I would have just called. If I had ace jack, I would have just called.
Seiver.
But my hand was far worse, so I had to raise.
Completes.
All right. Jack 4. 2 friends.
Tony G checks his option.
I really don't love the limp out of the loose cannon. Even if he's afraid of having to call a re-raise, it's not so bad with a hand like Jack 10 suited.
8-5-3 on the flop. No one connects. Tony's king still best, and it checks around. 10 of hearts on the turn, and the cannon makes a pair.
Top pair.
I have to bet this one.
Seiver checks. Tony has to bet 1,500.
There's a qualifier here.
1,500, right?
Cannon is qualified.
And he calls. Seiver's out, and they'll be heads up to the river.
You got the best hand so far.
Appreciate it.
Very confident.
Deuce of hearts on the river. Hold'em card.
That didn't change much.
Tony checks.
No point to bet if you got it, because if you bet, then I'll think I've got the best hand. Just check it down.
I gotta get some value, man.
Yeah.
He knows about value.
This is.
He knows the return value. Oh, we're dead.
You want to swap one card?
Swap one card. Swap one.
I'll give him my big one. You can choose which one.
Sure.
Sure.
Man, call, man.
You
What
said
you gonna
you
do?
got to give me one card. Come on, hand one card over.
I'm going to be his lawyer here and say that.
Finally, someone's sticking up for the guy. Bizarre poker peer pressure.
It's like, it's charity. I'm serious. Like, that's what I'm thinking about calling with.
Tony's exposed his hand.
Can I win? Look, one chip's in there.
One chip's already.
You can't call me with King High.
You want to get value, I believe you. I don't think you would lie.
Appreciate it. Jeez Louise.
I nearly called.
Gonzo wins.
What I would won? Just showing you.
You want to check?
Yeah,
what
just the left one.
Which one?
Anyone. Just open one card. It'll tell me everything.
This one?
Yeah.
You want to flip
Just
it?
flip it, flip
Go
it.
ahead.
You can flip it.
Shows a jack.
Oh my God. That is insane.
Guys, he's got 2 cards.
Loose cannon's beating Tony G at his own game.
I think I'm outclassed at this table.
Come on, guys. You know I had it.
Viffer, can we start an easier game? Can we start a must move?
I'm making moves on you, gentlemen. Not yet, anyway.
Welcome back to Las Vegas, where Viffer was just served an unpleasant slice of the big game by Tony G. After ending up on the short end of things, Viffer explained his thought process as we once again take you behind the poker face.
the session, a hand came up with me and Tony G where he raised in front of me and I called with the Jack-7 of diamonds. The flop comes Ace Jack-7 and I'm like, yes. But there's a flush draw there. Tony bets out and I just called because I figure I'm trapping him and he might think I have a flush draw. I'm like 95% sure I have the best hand. The turn comes, it's a king. And Tony bets 8,000. I'm thinking he might have ace-king here. He might have caught a gut shot straight. No real reason to raise now, so I just called again. And the river brought like a deuce, which absolutely changes nothing. And Tony bets 30,000, and I'm like, what do you do? Like, he's either bluffing or he has me beat.
Want to trade a card?
Off to call, probably.
Oh God. It's a really tough spot, but it's Tony G, and Tony could be like bluffing there a lot, or Tony could have like a really weak hand and think that I had a flush draw and make that bet.
If I called you, just promise not to give me the speech and turn the hand over.
Can't promise anything.
I called, put me stuck quite a bit.
Just ace jack.
Everyone's doing that. Just aces up.
I don't regret the call, you know, you just gotta call Tony G, you know, he's a great player, but he splashes around a lot.
Joe, the old adage is you have to give action to get action. Tony G, a prime example, working like a charm on Viffer.
Yeah, but Viffer gave him action, but what he got in return was a speech. I mean, that's not fair. Plus, did you see Viffer's sad puppy dog face? I don't care what anyone says. This is reality TV.
Well, 4 score and 23 hands in. The action will be back on Viffer. 9-8 offsuit. He folds. Suited connectors for the cannon. He can't wait to get in 400 bucks.
Can't say I'm in love with the limping. If he gets raised now, is he just going to burn the 400?
Ace-6 of clubs for Daniel.
You can't call yet.
Steamroll.
I'm thinking about doing something.
I mean, all you do is fold every hand that
No,
I just
I haven't.
assumed.
I've played several.
That's not true
Just
at all.
raised the last hand. You're not paying attention. You're yapping. I'm playing every pot.
Every pot, yeah.
Pretty much.
Negreanu raises to 1,600.
Woo, loosey-goosey. Ha, crazy, wild, whoa.
Seiver folds. Action on Tony G, a couple of jacks.
We summed up the cards. Yes!
Seiver's so happy he folded now.
Tony G re-raising to 5,000. Cannon's out.
What's that?
Have to get it in there.
Get what, the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Tony's made a pretty strong move, but he's probably going to get some action based on his reputation.
Daniel now facing a $3,400 re-raise. And makes the call.
Daniel's not in great shape here.
2 poker superstars to the flop. 3-6 king, 2 spades. Tony G still best, but Daniel has qualified, as Tony would say. Tony not scared of the king. He bets out 8,000.
Daniel's pair may make things a bit more expensive for him.
And Daniel calls.
Daniel knows his one pair could be good against Tony, but he's definitely looking to improve.
8 of spades on the turn. Tony G checks.
Tony slowed down a bit, but things have gotten worse for Daniel. He's got no spade, and if Tony were semi-bluffing the flop, Daniel would be drawing dead now.
Checks to the river, 10 of hearts. Check, check.
Just jacks.
Qualify. Oh, you have jacks? Pocket jacks?
Pocket jacks.
I have tens.
Tens would.
Wait a minute. Tens would have been a set.
Still A6, Daniel.
If you're going to lie about your hand, don't say it's something that would have won the pot.
I was qualified.
You were qualified.
Better. Much better.
Luckily, you didn't get it all in pre-flop.
So Tony collects a pot of over 27,000 and continues to build his stack.
Tony G only trails Scott Seiver in pots 1 so far, 26%, which is not unexpected because we all know what an action junkie the G is. But what really catches my eye is the fact that Viffer has yet to book a single win so far through 23 hands.
Cannon third best at the table with 22%.
Yeah, but he's got to stop all this limping BS.
Well, he's doing it again. He limps with King 9.
What the? This guy. I have no problem with him playing these hands, but he really should be the aggressor if he wants to play.
Action folds around to Scott Seiver, who has ace-10 offsuit.
2 yellows and a black.
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
Raises to 2,100. Tony G calls.
I'm pre-qualified.
Viffer folds.
Now the cannon's forced to burn 400 or call out of position with a marginal hand.
And he does call. 3 players to the flop. 7 ace deuce, 2 hearts. Tony checks. Cannon checks his flush draw. And now the action's on Scott Seiver with top pair.
Just the silver.
2 yellows, a black, and a white.
Sounds like the setup to the most racist joke of all time.
Seiver bets out 2,600.
Black and a white.
The Cannon's got something to think about here.
Yeah, my math is off, so I'm gonna trust you on that.
Yeah.
Gonzo calls.
Being colorblind.
That's my edge right there. Hoping for someone that's colorblind.
Aren't we all supposed to be colorblind?
Turn is the 4 of clubs.
Swing and a miss.
And Gonzo checks his flush draw again.
Scott's going to want to bet for value and to charge Gonzo to draw.
Seiver bets 6,000.
Scott's bet half the pot, giving the Cannon bad immediate odds to call, though Gonzo should consider he could already have the best hand if Scott's betting a worse flush draw. Also, Gonzo's got good implied odds for the money he could win if he hits his flush or makes flush over flush, which is called overflushing, not to be confused with a courtesy flush.
Which we appreciate here on the big game set. The Cannon folds.
Good job. Thank you.
And Seiver takes another pot.
Getting you out before you turn the set.
I couldn't turn a set. I could turn a straight draw.
I'm glad I got you out before that, too.
Well, that's the tightest play we've seen from the loose cannon so far.
Look at that one on TV, too. Goodness gracious.
And golly gosh, gee willikers.
Good to see we're keeping it PG-13 here at Late Night Programming.
Back with more of the big game after this. Welcome back to the big game. We've played 25 of the 150 hands to be played over the course of this week, and the action will start here on Daniel Negreanu. Jack 6 offsuit, he kicks it in. Scott Seiver, 10-7 offsuit. Daniel's favorite cards again. Not good enough for Scott, he folds. Tony G, king deuce off, lays it down. Viffer folds.
Just a little yeast, just a little yeast.
Min raise from the Cannon with suited connectors. Ace 9 for Bobby.
All right. Sounded good.
He calls.
Well, the Cannon's finally raising, but he gave Bobby 4.5 to 1, which means he should have called with any 2 cards.
Well, just about any play works when you flop a straight. And the Cannon bets 800.
This is such a small bet, which is inadvisable considering so many bad cards can hit, either one that breaks you or one that kills your action. If Bobby's got any card 4 through 10, then he's interested in this board.
Bobby calls with his better straight draw.
Plus, the flop may be the only time to get value with a hand like this.
7 on the turn, and the Cannon straight's still best. Checks it.
The check is not good. You're missing value, and you limit the size of your bet on the river.
And Sura checks. Jack of diamonds on the river. Cannon bets 4,000.
Now Cannon's trying to overbet the river, which should get about a 0% consideration out of Bobby Sura, currently a player in the NIT BA.
And he folds.
Good hand, sir.
Thank you.
And the Cannon drags a pot worth 7,800.
I had a good one there. I had a good one there. That was a good one. I had a good one there.
Yes, but was it a good one?
It was a good one. Joe, it seems like Gonzo's been playing a lot of hands so far for a loose Cannon.
Yeah, as we look at the VPIP, which shows the percentage of hands where a player is getting involved pre-flop, the loose Cannon is at 42%, second at the table behind Scott Seiver. Surprisingly, Negreanu is tied at the bottom alongside Bobby Sura with 19%, and I don't know what choice he has with Seiver and Tony to his left.
Well, Gonzo told us earlier that he came in here with a game plan. Now, we haven't seen the playbook, but it must have said, make a lot of hands. Tony G, suited connectors, raises to 1,200. Viffer calls. Cannon and Sura are out.
Yeah, that's tournaments. Those are, what do you call those, dunkaments?
They're talking about Daniel's brief stint at the top of the all-time tourney money winners list. Eric Seidel currently on top.
Daniel makes the call with king-queen off. Scott Seiver, queen-jack of diamonds.
At least there's room for everyone to keep improving.
I mean, the way you guys all play, there's certainly tons of room.
Yeah.
Scott calls.
I'm going to go with an old Hellmuth trick. Watch this, gentlemen. Check in the dark. How do you fade that? Seriously. Check in the dark. I don't even want to see what's coming.
Flop, deuce, 10, jack.
Wow. Genius. That was amazing. What I just did there is so high level, I can't even put it into words.
Checks around.
Everyone checked?
Turns the 7 of spades, and Tony G has made a straight.
See how that worked? Because if I wouldn't have done that, they would have been more scared. My turn, right?
Daniel's still open-ended.
Did you qualify?
Yes, I've qualified pretty comfortably at this point. Question is, how much do I want to put in there?
He checks.
No, I'm not. I'm not, for
He's
sure.
not checking?
Yeah. If you're folding any bet, you can just do that now. I'm going to put in, I'm going to put 36 in.
Daniel's bet 3,600.
Daniel's trying to clean up his outs.
Seiver calls with top pair.
I'm going to raise it.
Good spot for a raise. Action in front of him. A lot of draws out there. He's likely to get called.
14,000.
One guy's not betting, one guy's not folding, and one guy's raising.
Look, it's a nice opportunity to raise.
Viffer folds his nothing.
I just like, go to punish him for that dark check.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it.
Tony's raise size to 14 is pretty good too. He's building a nice pot.
Does that mean I can get my money back because you're just trying to punish him?
If I win the pot, I'll give you your money back.
And Tony's raise is not too big to chase off someone who likes to call. Daniel!
This does not look good.
For you or me?
Yeah, for you. For me, it looks like you're involved in this.
I'm involved. Yeah.
He's qualified.
Daniel calls. Now over to Seiver.
Oops.
Uh-oh.
Who's counting out chips, drawing dead.
This would be real strong if the raise came now after the wake me up
I had to
speech.
make it like 50,000 to win this.
It's possible on a wet board like this that Tony could be semi-bluffing.
Pretty freaky.
But with a raise and a call, top pair almost never good here.
And Seiver folds.
Wow, that was a big sweat.
Took a long time. That speech really got him.
He made a big laydown just now.
Okay, you owe me my 3,600 if you win the hand.
That's not exactly how poker works.
Tony and Daniel to the river. 9 of diamonds, and Daniel's made the nuts straight.
That's a super dirty card for Tony. Not only does it beat him, but it's not a club, so the only two hands that beat him are King, Queen, and Queen 8. I think Daniel may want to check raise here. No.
He bets 35,000, a little Tony G move.
Daniel must think Tony's not all that strong, and he could check behind on the river.
Are you also offering my 4,800 back if you...
Tony calls, and Daniel wins a $100,000 pot.
I had the nuts on the turn. Wow, well done.
Felt like
too good.
I mean, that check in the dark.
Yeah, that was the trick.
I mean, that old check in the dark, you really punished him.
Never misses.
What he means is that Daniel never misses an opportunity to call on TV.
So by virtue of that last pot, Daniel finds himself leading the way and lands on the plus side of things for the first time all night. Despite the loss, Tony G remains up 19,000, while Viffer has been roughed up to the tune of 57K.
The loose cannon is up over 18,000, and he's shown me he's not afraid to play hands. It'll be interesting to see if Gonzo keeps mixing it up with these guys, or will they eventually figure out his game in the end?
All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Gonzo, holding your own out here, huh?
Trying to.
How you feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling
Yeah?
good. Yeah. Feeling good.
Tony G, I have not heard enough nonsense out of you yet. What's up?
Not much. I just got destroyed, so...
That was a fun river.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I had so many plans. I
Fun
was
river,
calculating the odds.
Oh my
'cause
God,
that's what
you're
I'm
so
a nerd
talented.
now. I'm an online nerd.
All right, guys, that's it for tonight. I'm Amanda Leatherman saying goodbye for now. And remember, if you've got the cash and the guts, there's always a seat open at the big game. Good night, everybody.
For Stapes, this is Huff. We'll see you tomorrow night.
You liking the game?
I'm
Having
enjoying
fun?
it. I'm enjoying it. Getting my feet wet.
Viffer, are you really wearing a shirt with your own picture on it?
I like the hairstyle better.
I mean, you know, this way they couldn't make fun of my hair.
What's the D? What's the other D for?
I don't know you that well.
The preceding program was sponsored by PokerStars.com.